This next cojones goes to a man who's dear to my heart for standing up for stand-up. When dozens of Netflix employees walked out over Dave Chappelle's reckless decision to perform comedy on his comedy special, CEO Ted Sarandos could have pulled the special and replaced it with more episodes of Who Wants to Watch Koreans Get Killed. But instead, he reminded his Netflix employees that comedy exists to push boundaries and told them if you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. For making the phrase, "Don't let the door hit you in the ass," never sound better. This is for you, Ted.
Bill Maher hasn't wrapped up his battle against Hollywood's so-called woke favorites. Lately, he went after a group of celebrities for relentlessly pushing their agenda and slammed them for being utterly out of touch with the real world. In typical Maher fashion, he dismantled their weak points, calling out the hypocrisy and performative nature of their virtue signaling. There's a lot to break down, so let's get into it.
There's no getting around the fact that what was on the mind of the liberals that night in Brentwood, or wherever we may have been, was that the most powerful witch hunters now were coming from Twitter, the Ivy League, and the progressive left. J.K. Rowling used to be a villain to the right because she wrote books about witchcraft. Now she's a villain to the left because she has the crazy belief that there's more to being a woman than pronouns and lipstick.
Ma opened the night by highlighting a harsh irony. The woke left idolizes its champions until those champions say something that strays from the script. Then almost instantly, they're cast out. J.K. Rowling might be the most notorious case, but she's far from the only one. Elon Musk was once the darling of Silicon Valley. Joe Rogan was hailed as the rebellious voice of progressives. Even Maher himself was celebrated as a liberal icon. But the moment any of them voiced unpopular views, the woke mob turned on them with sharpened claws. Apparently, loyalty only lasts as long as absolute conformity.
So that was the point of the evening. How do we take a stand against cancel culture? And I suggested, since we were mostly all in show business, that we start an award show to honor the brave people who have fought back. Well, I got to tell you, the idea was met with great enthusiasm by everyone. And in short order, different people were suggesting the ways that their varied talents could be put to use. And then, of course, being Hollywood, nothing happened. But it's still a good idea, so I'm going to do it right here, right now. And not only that, we're going to do it every year.
So what's Ma really getting at? He's trying to spotlight Hollywood's true rebels, the ones who refuse to bend the knee to cancel culture's tribunal. These are the stars who didn't cave, didn't churn out cookie-cutter PR apologies, and didn't scrub their words from the internet just to calm the mob. Instead, they doubled down, held their ground, and made it clear that free speech still counts. In Hollywood's echo chamber, MLR is essentially saluting the rare few who didn't trade integrity for applause. And in today's climate, that kind of defiance is worthy of a standing ovation.
This award goes to the president of my alma mater, Cornell University, Martha Pollack. This month, students there demanded trigger warnings before all the lectures in case any of the adult subjects you specifically went to college to learn about came up. And Martha said, "Yeah, no, we're not doing that." She didn't cave in or hire a new dean of sensitivity. She just said, "No, college is for introducing you to new ideas, not for kissing your ass and making you feel wonderful and always right."
If more universities had the resolve and clarity of Martha Pollack, we'd be raising a generation of confident leaders rooted in common sense instead of drowning in ideological nonsense. For years, especially leading up to Trump's presidency, higher education drifted into a factory for bizarre, impractical ideas that chipped away at society's moral core. Campuses turned into echo chambers where dissent was crushed, conformity was praised, and genuine curiosity was swapped out for rigid political correctness. But even before Trump entered the scene, figures like Martha Pollack refused to bend. She stood her ground against the surge of wokeism and safeguarded the integrity of education. That kind of rare courage makes her more than deserving of the recognition Maher is giving her.
Thinking of brunch with your parents. I'm just amazed at how this generation can simultaneously be too sensitive for anything distasteful and somehow also so into eating ass. So, Cornell, I present you with these balls. I sure could have used them when I was there.
Looking closely at today's younger generation, the level of deviancy is nothing short of shocking. On one side, they boast about being fearless, liberated, and unapologetically edgy, embracing behaviors that would have left their grandparents in total disbelief. Yet on the other side, these same individuals collapse under the weight of the smallest verbal slight. The kinds of degrading, debasing things they do to one another in the name of love or self-expression are jaw-dropping. And still, a single word, a harmless joke, or an opposing opinion can send them into full-blown outrage. The hypocrisy is staggering, and the irony is almost too rich to ignore.
The next award goes to the place where many Cornell grads will be working next year, Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's, who for years have been selling a line of ethnically themed products, trading on the name Joe. For example, they have Trader Jose's beer. So, of course, one teenager on Twitter heard the word Jose and said it was racist, and then there was a petition, and then Trader Joe's management did the right thing. They burnt down all their stores and themselves. No, they didn't. They said, "F off, you oversensitive little shits."
I remember the Trader Joe's incident like it was yesterday. The Twitter mob showed up with digital pitchforks, demanding apologies, graveling, and corporate re-education. Everyone assumed the company would fold because that's what most corporations do now. They cave, release overstuffed statements, drenched in guilt, and rebrand themselves into oblivion. But Trader Joe's did the unthinkable. They stood firm. They refused to join the cancel culture parade. And what happened? Nothing catastrophic. Sales didn't tank. Customers didn't revolt. Why? Because most people recognized the outrage for what it was. Nonsense. There was nothing offensive about calling a product Trader Jose. It was lighthearted branding, not bigotry. By refusing to apologize for something that never warranted one, Trader Joe's proved that a little common sense and a dose of backbone are often all it takes to win.
Life and a sense of humor, and released this statement. We disagree that any of these labels are racist, and we do not make decisions based on petitions. You see how easy it is? So to the home of the 19-cent banana, here, have some nuts.
Trader Joe's deserves full credit for standing firm against the so-called woke mob at a time when most corporations collapse at the first hint of online outrage. They showed that courage still pays off. Their defiance is a powerful reminder that anyone can push back and still come out stronger. The mob isn't nearly as powerful as it pretends to be. It's not some unstoppable force, just a small chorus of perpetually outraged voices shouting into the Twitter void. And once you see that clearly, their influence crumbles. Trader Joe's proved exactly how to handle it.
Dozens of Netflix employees walked out over Dave Chappelle's reckless decision to perform comedy on his comedy special. CEO Ted Sarandos could have pulled the special and replaced it with more episodes of Who Wants to Watch Koreans Get Killed. But instead, he reminded his Netflix employees that comedy exists to push boundaries, and told them if you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you.
Ow! Even comedians, the very people whose job is to push boundaries and make us laugh at life's absurdities, haven't been spared from cancel culture's wrath. The woke mob, with its endless hunger for outrage, has gone after some of the biggest names in comedy. Dave Chappelle was dragged through the mud for daring to joke about taboo topics. Kevin Hart was stripped of hosting the Oscars over decade-old tweets he had already addressed. Joe Rogan was attacked for podcast conversations that didn't fit the approved narrative. Even Rob Schneider, with his goofy brand of humor, wasn't safe from their crusade. What makes it so insane is that comedy has always thrived on challenging norms and calling out society's hypocrisies. Yet today, one off-script joke is treated like a crime. The irony is brutal. The very people most committed to free expression are now the ones being silenced the fastest.
Get together these days. One phrase that comes up a lot and always makes me sad is, "Yeah, you couldn't make that one today." Top of that list is the great Tropic Thunder, which the scolds have been after for years. But in February, Ben Stiller tweeted, "I make no apologies for Tropic Thunder. It's always been a controversial movie since when we opened, proud of it and the work everyone did on it." See, people, it's not that hard. And he's still got a commercial. And the lesson is, if you stand up to the mob for just a day or two, their shallow, impatient, immature, smartphone-driven, gerbil minds will forget about it and go on to the next nothing burger, and you still will have your cojones.
Ma didn't hold back when he reminded Hollywood that standing up to the woke mob isn't a career-ending move. Too many celebrities live in constant fear of online backlash, convinced a trending hashtag will erase everything they've worked for. But Maher cut through the paranoia. At worst, you'll deal with a wave of brainless Twitter rants for a day or two. Then the mob will move on to its next victim. Careers aren't destroyed by a few angry posts, they're destroyed by cowardice and silence. The real danger comes from surrendering your voice just to appease a crowd that will never be satisfied. His message was blunt but powerful. Stop graveling. Stop apologizing for using common sense, and stop letting fear dictate what you say. In the end, audiences value courage far more than polished compliance.
Miley Cyrus once said, "I am moving if Trump is my president. I don't say things I don't mean." Here she is looking miserable, having to endure America at the Grammys last Sunday. I guess she flew back from Tajikistan.
Ma then turned his fire on the Hollywood stars who love to posture but collapse the moment real courage is called for. Remember that wave of celebrities who swore up and down they'd leave America if Trump won the presidency? They made dramatic declarations on late-night shows, red carpets, and Twitter feeds, vowing exile in the name of principle. Yet 9 months into Trump's presidency, where were they? Still in Hollywood, still sipping champagne, still living their best lives under the very administration they claimed was unbearable. Not a single moving truck to be found. Ma called it exactly what it is, pure, unfiltered hypocrisy. Empty threats for applause, empty words for clout. If you're going to shout about resistance, at least follow through. Otherwise, it's nothing but performance. A script for the cameras, not a stand rooted in conviction.
In 2016, Eddie Griffin said, "If Trump wins, I'm moving to Africa." Apparently very slowly, because in Trump's 4 years, he only got as far as Van Nuys. George Lopez once said that if Trump won, he won't have to worry about immigration. We'll all go back. George Lopez, still here.
Hollywood celebrities are the last people anyone should turn to for genuine guidance. They're not philosophers, visionaries, or thought leaders. They're entertainers whose entire livelihood depends on applause. Their words shift with the crowd. Their values bend with the latest trends, and their convictions vanish the second ticket sales or streaming numbers are at risk. They're experts at pandering, carefully crafting their public image to stay in the good graces of the masses. And when the woke mob shows up, most collapse like flimsy lawn chairs, issuing hollow apologies just to hold on to the spotlight. Rarely do they have a principle worth standing firm on, let alone a cause they'd sacrifice anything for. Their moral compass doesn't point to truth, it points to relevance and fame. If you're searching for courage, consistency, or honesty, Hollywood is the last place you'll find it. At the end of the day, Maher's takedown of Hollywood and the woke mob wasn't just comedy, it was a much-needed reality check. He reminded us that cancel culture only has the power people allow it to have. Trader Joe's showed that resistance works, comedians showed that laughter can't be muzzled, and voices like Martha Pollack proved that courage isn't extinct in academia. Hollywood elites may continue to posture and pander, but true influence comes from those who refuse to cave. Maher's message is clear: stop bowing to empty outrage and start standing up for common sense. In today's climate, defiance isn't reckless, it's essential. And with that, we'll wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this.